Hello, y'all, and welcome to my comics review for the month of November 2023. Sometimes I don't know what year it is, so sometimes I like to specify that just to make sure I know what the fuck is going on in my life. It is 2023, right? Regardless. This month's trip to the comic store was a little more fruitful than it has been over the past few months. Once G.I. Joe and Transformers kind of all closed off with IDW, we've got some new stuff on the way that's starting up. Not a ton yet, but we're getting there. We're getting a little bit more new stuff. So to start things off, though, we're going to be very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles heavy. And the first thing up is issue 144 of the regular ongoing series. This kind of tidies up the storyline that's been going on for a while. So after the last issue left off, they had tracked down Dr. Jasper Barlow and had engaged him in battle. So Barlow and Venus were fighting each other in kind of an eternal struggle between the two of them, because he's saying, I created you, and Venus is like, you didn't create me, I was born, you modified me, sort of thing, right? So they're having a battle. In the meantime, the other turtles are fighting against Leatherhead and some other opponents. So eventually Venus and Barlow's battle boils over and into the other battle, and they figure out the Barlow change these mutants by adding these dragon scales to their chests, which give them these weird psychic powers and stuff like that allows kind of a mind control that plants doubts in the minds of their enemies, sort of thing. So that's what the turtles have been suffering through this. But Venus can overcome it because she's got some special powers herself, and she lets them know, just rip the dragon scales right out of their body, sort of thing. So the turtles start doing that. So there's this like crow and this bat that were helping Barlow control his enemies. So the turtles went after them, ripped the scales out. They turned back into just normal animals, and this helped loosen Leatherhead's the control they had over Leatherhead, and as he was attacking the turtles. So he kind of came out of his stupor and eventually started fighting with the turtles, and then he got rid of his scales. And in the end, Barlow ended up mutating into this weird fucking even bigger rat with all these eyes and stuff like that. But Venus eventually took him down with the help of everybody else. They ripped the scales off of him, and he shrunk down into just a normal kind of giant rat thing. And he was pissed. He's like, you should have just killed me. I'd rather be dead than living as this weird rat. So they kind of brought everything into line there. So Barlow's been shrunk down. He's being captured. Leatherhead is cool. He's like, next time we'll meet as allies, turtles. I'm sorry about all this. And so as the issue closes off, like I said, it kind of brought this whole recent storyline to a head. Raph has some thinking to do. He's like, I'm just going to travel cross country on my motorbike, and I'll see you guys when I see you. Leonardo wants to go head up north and live up in Northampton more regularly. Donnie's eventually going to join him. Alapex is reunited with the Weasels, and they leave town on a train. And Mikey's going to stay in town, but the turtles are all kind of separating and going out on their own adventures now that everything's kind of over. But it's not over, because Donnie, right as the issue is leaving off, he's like, Venus, we have some work to do. And then he mentions going back to the Thin Place and dealing with Armagon, which was an issue they had to deal with in this whole battle and the Armageddon game and all that stuff. So he's Donnie feels like he's got some unfinished business to take care of. So obviously things are going to continue on, and the storyline's going to evolve, but where exactly it's going, we don't know yet, but we will find out. Next up, issue 6 of the Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures Continues series. So this is the second Saturday Morning Adventures series that they've released for the Turtles. Now, they screwed up at the comics book shop and stopped giving me these for a couple of issues, so I actually don't have issues 4 and 5. I looked while I was there. They didn't have them on the shelf, so I actually ordered them on eBay for pretty cheap. So those will be showing up hopefully in the next few weeks or something like that. So I'll have to backtrack to 4 and 5 on my December video, but I will get them soon, hopefully. So in this one, there's a mayoral election going on. So currently they're in the debate stage. So there's a live televised debate between the candidates. And then all of a sudden, this armored creature that looks a lot like Shredder enters the debate. And the Turtles are watching it with Splinter on TV, and they're like, what the fuck? So they kind of scramble to go keep tabs on this creature that looks like Shredder. But he's not doing anything wrong just yet. He wants to run for mayor as well, and he's being peaceful and whatever. But they're like, something's up with this guy. It's Shredder, basically, right? So the Turtles keep an eye on him over the next couple weeks. Eventually, this robot does all the right things. He wins the mayor spot, but once he has won, he reveals that he's turning on his scientist master that he actually created him. And this is a robot. It's not Shredder. It's a robot that looks like Shredder. He turns on his master and says, I'm going to rule this city with an iron fist. So he actually is an asshole, just like Shredder. But he said and did all the right things to get into the position of power. And now he's going to wreak all sorts of havoc. So the Turtles can't really go after him because he's seen in public as a, you know, the new mayor and a good guy sort of thing, right? But so eventually they have to work out a plan to get him to kind of reveal that he's actually an asshole and he intends on taking over the city. So once they do that and they get him to snap and he starts freaking out and all the people are like, fuck, he's shooting lasers everywhere, then the Turtles are able to go at him and take him out, sort of thing. And yeah, just a simple story, as the Saturday morning adventures are. They're very simple. Next up, issue 4 of the Turtles and Stranger Things crossover. This is the last issue. The story ends with this one. So as this one picks up, they're kind of they figure out that, oh, these Baxter Stockman's demo dogs or whatever that are like robotic versions of the demo Gorgons or whatever they are from Stranger Things, they figure out that we might be able to use these robot monsters to lure the other ones out of the thin or the upside down place and all that stuff and whatever. So everything kind of comes to a head as a portal opens, and this big thing called the Mind Flare, I think it is, this big creature that like is as big as a building, is released, and it's up to no good. And so the Turtles have to scramble, and they figure out that from the Utroms that the Utroms were the ones that opened up this portal to the upside down place, because they were working on trans-dimensional portals, and in doing so accidentally opened up this portal to the upside down place and let these creatures into the world. And the Mind Flare actually took control of the Utroms and used them to manipulate events and kind of bring about their ascension into the world and to take over kind of Earth, sort of thing. So the Turtles scramble and to the top of this skyscraper and just take the fight to the creatures in the upside down and find a way to stop the threat and end this scourge that is about to be unleashed on New York City. And then in the end, once everything settles, the Turtles go their way back to their usual routine in New York, say goodbye to all the kids. And the last thing we see of the Stranger Things kids is their teacher finally catching up with them and being like, where the hell have you guys been, and blah 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 blah, and then making up excuses as to why they kind of skipped out on whatever part of the field trip they were on and whatever, but nobody realizes what actually went on, sort of thing. So yeah, very interesting crossover. Like a lot of the crossovers I've seen like kind of make sense, like Turtles and Ghostbusters, like kind of similar type of franchises in a way, but Stranger Things was just such a weird thing to happen, but was kind of cool, right, to see the kids out of their element in small town Hawkins, Indiana, and into the big city and bring their craziness to New York, and the Turtles had to step in and help out, sort of thing. So really cool crossover. Unexpected, but cool. The last of the Turtles stuff, issue 4 of the Turtles and Street Fighter crossover. So this is I think this is going to be the second last issue in the series. So M. Bison has just recently released Shredder, and he's wreaking all sorts of havoc. And the Turtles and the Street Fighter crew kind of catch up to Baxter Stockman and take him captive and go like, what the hell are you and M Bison doing here? Like, what's the purpose of all this nefariousness? And he's like, oh, we're creating a bomb, and that's why they've captured Raphael and Chun-Li, who Chun-Li has since escaped and is trying to get out of Baxter and M Bison's grasp. But they're trying to harness Raphael and other people's psychic power to make this like psycho bomb. And Baxter Stockman says to them like, we were just planning on, dropping it on a barren stretch of desert, just to show the world that we mean business, what we're capable of, so that, nations everywhere will bow to our demands and we can have all this power and whatever. So Ken and I think, is it Michelangelo maybe? No, not Michelangelo. Oh, maybe it was. They're like, okay, Baxter, well, you're going to help us stop this. So let's go to your control center or whatever, and let's stop this bomb from happening. But Baxter manipulates things, and enrages Ken, so that Ken actually destroys the console that controls the bomb. And Baxter's like, you just destroyed your only way to stop this bomb, and I goaded you into it, sort of thing. So they're kind of pissed that Ken has gone and done this. And in the meantime, Chun-Li and those guys raid M. Bison's sanctuary, and they were able to release a bunch of people from their stasis pods, like Raphael and whatever, and take the fight to M. Bison. But M. Bison says, you know what? You're too late. The bomb is ready to go, and I'm about to launch it. And oh yeah, it's not going to hit some barren stretch of desert where it's going to cause no damage. It's dropping in Manhattan. So all of a sudden, a big psycho bomb is heading to Manhattan, where it's going to kill millions of people and show the world that M. Bison means super, super business, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So, and even Baxter Stockman's like, what? That wasn't the plan. So M. Bison has totally manipulated events to get what he wants and gain ultimate power. And I don't know why I think this is the second last issue, but I think it is. So hopefully we're going to see exactly how the Turtles and the Street Fighter gang save the day in issue number 5. Stay tuned. Okay, so the one new issue that I wasn't expecting this time around is a Transformers issue, and it is issue number 1 from a new series from Image Comics. And this cover was amazing. I had a choice between 2 covers. The other cover was really good too, but I love Soundwave. Soundwave is one of my, probably my favorite Decepticon, but one of my favorite Transformers overall. And it's just a really cool bit of artwork with him. And then you've also got Starscream in the background, plus a couple of his tapes with Laserbeak and Rumble. I just thought that cover was just like, yeah, easy win for my choice, right? So in this reboot, I guess we're gonna say, even though it's a different company doing it, of the Transformers comic line, it starts with Spike Witwicky going to this roadside bar to find his dad and have a conversation with him. And his dad has a flashback as he's drinking at the bar about finding his dad dead, and it looks like they're both wearing military uniforms and stuff like that. And you can tell that his dad, Sparkplug, I think his name's Sparkplug in this series, is having some sort of struggle with this, and Spike's trying to talk to him about it and whatever, and his dad's being an ass, and eventually he takes off with one of his friends from the bar to go to work. So Spike then leaves, and his friend Carly, I think her name is, shows up in her van, is like, Spike, you ready to go? And so they're going up, I think they're going up to look at some stars or something like that, up on a mountain range. But once they get up there, so like an earthquake or something happens, and they fall through the ground. And eventually, what they don't realize is that they are inside of the Autobot Ark, which has been, of course, crash landed into the side of that volcano for however many millions of years. So all of a sudden they're in the Ark, and they kind of collect themselves and look around, and they're like, what the fucking robots everywhere? Like, what is this shit, right? And then before they can really look around and see what's going on, Jetfire stumbles in and starts messing with Teletran 1 to start reactivating and bringing the Transformers in the Ark back online. And the first robot to come back online is Starscream, of course. Anybody but him, right? And so he greets Jetfire, and they're like, "Oh, cool, whatever. Yeah, good to see you again." And Jetfire hasn't seen his friends in millions of years, so he used to be allies with Starscream and actually really good friends. But in the time they didn't see each other, Jetfire hasn't realized there's been a war started between the Autobots and the Decepticons, and so when he sees Starscream just start blasting away at the Autobots that are just lying on the ground in stasis, Jetfire's like, "Starscream, what the fuck are you doing?" sort of thing, right? And so he kind of struggles with Starscream, and he's like, Starscream, I don't know, can't remember exactly what he tells him, but Jetfire quickly realizes things are way different than when he left them. So, but all of a sudden, some other robots start coming back online. Optimus Prime comes back online, starts doing battle with Starscream. More characters come back online. Wheeljack, I think Ratchet, Skywarp, Soundwave, and a big battle starts taking place within the Ark. And Spike actually risks his own life to help Optimus Prime. Uh, not get offed by Starscream and kind of take the fight to them. So eventually, the Autobots though are severely outnumbered. So they load all of their allies into Optimus Prime's trailer, and then Carly and Carly, that was Spike's girlfriend in the original Transformers cartoon, wasn't it? Yeah, I forgot about Carly. Um, just kind of thought about that now. So they all, and Carly and Spike get into Optimus's cabin. All the Autobots take off, and Starscream means to give pursuit, but turns back and starts focusing on, getting all of his allies together and whatever. And the Autobots go and take rest inside of some sort of quarry, where Jetfire, I think, eventually passes away from his injuries, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know there was a war going on," and Starscream's an asshole, all that sort of thing. And Optimus is like, "You got nothing to apologize for. You didn't know. You know what? It's all good." And so that's kind of where things leave off, with the Autobots kind of taking refuge and the Decepticons starting to rally their forces to eventually chase after the Autobots, because Starscream, after what happened in the Ark, he's like, "I'm gonna get you, Optimus, if it's the last thing I do." So really cool episode, kind of close to you know the how the Transformers cartoon originally started, with a couple little twists and differences here and there. So I can't wait to see where they continue to go with this series, if it continues to stay close to the storyline of the original cartoon, or if they're just using that as a jumping off point and then they're going to start doing their own thing. But either way, I like the writing, I like the artwork. It's a little different than the IDW. So yeah, and Transformers are probably my favorite to read of all the comic books. I really love GI Joe too. They're kind of neck and neck, and then the Turtles is kind of beneath them. So I'm really excited to see where this continues to go. But there may be some other new surprises outside of the Transformers universe that may start coming up in the next month or two or three. I'm just not sure what all the exact release dates are for these things, but I hope to add more new surprises for you, and keep you as entertained as possible, because I know I'm really entertaining. No, I'm not. I'm an asshole. Anyways, till December. Meow.